But I just want to start by saying it's an absolute privilege to moderate this session on the occasion of 25 years of InStep, Infosys' much acclaimed global internship program, which has been ranked #1 for 5 years in a row. So, huge round of applause. And it's very, very rare to get Mr. Murthy, Mr. Nilekani, and Salil together on one stage. So another round of applause for that. Let me begin with you, Mr. Murthy. You are the reason why InStep exists. It started as a germ of an idea in 1999, and you decided to institute a global internship program out of India. When such programs were not common, traveling all the way to India to do an internship wasn't exactly aspirational back then. So take us through, what the driving factor was. What were you thinking about then?
Thank you, Chandra. First of all, it is a pleasure to be sharing the platform with you. After we got listed in India in 1993, we set our eyes on becoming a listed company on an American stock exchange. Of course, we chose NASDAQ. So that preparation started in 1995. First was producing the financial statements according to US GAAP, US Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. Then we started recruiting multicultural people. It was a small number, but we still did. Then we started thinking how to enhance the brand of Infosys, or to create brand of Infosys in the talent pool. And we immediately recognized that the best way is to become better known in the universities abroad. We had a parallel program running for Indian students. So we said we will focus this program on attracting youngsters in their sophomore year and junior year from well-known universities in the US, in Europe, and other parts of the world. There were several reasons why we did, in addition to the one that I spoke about. The first offshoot was to create a channel where a small part of these interns could end up as employees of Infosys. Second was, I have always believed that the best way to create enduring peace and harmony in the world is to steal a small part of the heart of bright youngsters who will eventually become leaders of those countries in almost every area. And therefore, our focus was on appealing to the bright youngsters. The second objective of this exercise was to provide a very positive image of India, because even though we had liberalized in 1991, still outside India, the image was improving, but still not the level at which we wanted. So we said the best way to do it is to think of some exciting, intellectually challenging projects for these youngsters who would come from the developed world, most of it at that point of time developed world. Now, of course, it's both developed and developing. And then satisfy their intellectual hunger. Because that was the first requirement for us to attract these youngsters. They should not say, I went to India, but I wasted 2 months, etc.
Right.
At the same time, we said we will have to create an opportunity for these bright youngsters from other cultures to understand Indian culture, to visit the homes of our people, to make sure that they could visit some of the historical places around various Indian campuses of Infosys. And finally, it was also to give an opportunity for our middle-level managers to get experience in mentoring multicultural youngsters. And I felt that at that point of time, that if we did it, these youngsters who will end up as leaders, maybe a few decades later, will have a small part of their heart reserved for India, and they will be positive towards India. And that's how we started this program. Today, from 14 interns to 300 is not a small increase. It's a 20-fold increase. So all of that has happened thanks to Salil and Nandan. So I am in awe, I am in appreciation, and I am in admiration of what all these people have done.
Wonderful, sir. 25 years, I think over 3,500 interns from 112 countries. So incredible scale and execution. Nandan, I wanted to get your thoughts. You're someone who's always been championed the intersection of education and technology. What is InStep's role today when technology is getting disrupted every day? There are so many developments around AI. We don't know which skills will be relevant next week. So, how do you see InStep's role in the current scenario?
No, I think notwithstanding all the technology that is coming, I think human interaction, human collaboration, human relations, those will actually become even more important. Our ability to work together, our ability to work with people from different backgrounds. So I think InStep is actually even more relevant today than any time, because it's that which is the heart of society and organizations. So I think let the technology come and go, but human relations is paramount, and InStep embodies that.
And how has this been strategic for you as someone who has scaled this over the decades?
Well, I think first of all, the important thing is Infosys, our goal is to create an institution that will be there for a long time when all of us are gone. And and when you create institutions, you need to make sure that the institutional legacies are continued, improved, scaled up. So that's the spirit in which InStep or anything else that we do. Mr. Murthy led the idea of creating a campus in Mysore, which is the world's largest educational campus, both in the it's a huge one, and number of rooms there, as you can tell you, is more than any university. So that's an example. Or the fact that we have 55 million square feet of high-performance buildings, which are the latest standards in sustainability. So idea is to always be moving forward and doing things that you haven't done before. And keeping that spirit going is very important. So all that we are doing is really maintaining and improving on that. And I think InStep is really part of the larger matrix of how Infosys will be a globally respected company. It was what was initiated in 1981.
Great. Sure.
If I may add to what Nandan said, you know, as early as 1975, I learned a very important principle. Said in our business, of course, those days I was at a consulting organization called Systems Research Institute. It said, in our business, technology changes rapidly. Business models change rapidly. We go from country to country. So therefore, the only constant for us is change. I said at that point of time, in such a context, the most important attribute for every successful professional is what I call learnability. Learnability is the ability to extract generic inferences from specific instances and use them in solving new unstructured problems. So therefore, as Nandan pointed out, what is important is not so much the change in technology, it is the human beings, it is the human relationships, it's teamwork, all of that. But behind, at the bottom of all of this is the idea of learnability. That is why at the Infosys Global Education Center in Mysore, we focused on learnability.
Right. I think learnability and also the ability to unlearn and relearn is going to become a vital skill. Salil, you know, under your leadership, Infosys has taken strides towards more localization, global skilling. How has InStep worked for you as a talent pipeline, a leadership engine, in attracting the right kind of talent? While many of them have gone on to do many exciting things, has this also been a steady talent pipeline for you?
So thanks, Chandra. I think first it's a huge occasion for all of us to be here and for Mr. Murthy to be here and Nandan to be here for this. What we have seen is the company inside is also very proud and supportive of InStep. So just to give you some example, in the last 5 years, about 300 people have joined Infosys who were InStep interns.
Wow.
And this is people like the people who are, helping with the event today, the people on the video. They're doing different roles, helping us in where we are looking at. There are people who've come from MBA programs, from undergraduate programs. They're working with client work. They're working on technology work. So it's quite amazing to have that sort of team coming in. And it's a little bit what Mr. Murthy said earlier, which is to build that multicultural type of approach, which is quite different in Infosys than from many other companies. Then you look at the point you made on localization. So many years ago, we had started this approach to be more and more local in every geography. So all of those places, the idea is to make sure we bring the best, because we have some very excellent talent in India, and there is some excellent talent we are getting in other countries who can then come together and build a company for the future which is more resilient. We want the company to stay on even in the future in a very globalized model. And this InStep has become one of the pillars that has helped us to make it happen.
Right now you take what, 300 interns a year?
300 interns in this year are in the InStep program. And every year it goes up a little bit by 5 to 10%.
So you see that increasing?
Yeah, this will keep increasing because the university relationships we are expanding. The quality of the people is exceptional. So who are coming?
Mr. Murthy, yes.
If I may add, having Nandan and I, we started the multicultural platform for Infosys, and the numbers were small. But to hear Salil said that 300 interns from InStep program have joined. I must say that Salil has done a brilliant job of multiculturalism at Infosys. And this is extraordinary because at the end of the day, if Indian companies have to become multinationals, you need to attract high quality talent from many, many countries. And that's what they have done.
You know, it's very rare to get the three of you together, so I have to ask you a broader question on where we are as an industry. Because in the last week, in the last year, you know, many obituaries have been written about the Indian IT industry. Have they sort of succumbed to the innovator's dilemma in underinvesting in emerging technologies? How would you respond to that, Nandan?
Well, I think there are many times in the past when such obituaries have been written. So whenever there's a major technology shift or a major business model shift, people say that. But I'm very, very confident that in the current environment with the advent of AI, not only, certainly at Infosys we can say that not only will we master this technology capability, we'll actually use it to our advantage to again move forward and become even more critical to the world's technology needs. I think we're all doing that. It will mean major things. It's, the transformation of our people is very important, getting them ready for new technology, having many more individual contributors of a very high tech capability and so on. But it is going to happen, and it goes back to what Mr. Murthy said, which is if people have the learnability and the motivation and the commitment, the rest we can manage. It's not a big deal.
Right. But, for the longest time, and I think Mr. Murthy said that, one of the intents of InStep was to make India more aspirational, make Infosys a household brand name. And that's exactly what's happened in the last 20 years. The story of Indian IT in many ways became the story of India, the story of middle class India. People could buy homes, they could buy cars because of Indian IT. Salil, your thoughts?
So first, I'm very optimistic of where things are going. So what's happening, Chandra, and we've talked about this a few times, technology is changing the world. So that's a given. The best place for technology at scale is really Infosys, is really India. Because what we do here for large companies, there's no one else who has that sort of knowledge. These are complex, large organizations, and we know how the technology works there. Now today, as Nandan was sharing, the big move is AI. And where actually my view is Infosys is in a leading position. Actually, Nandan himself is helping, guiding us into what we are doing on AI. And we have built a lot of content, a lot of capability on AI. So if you take an example, we have got 300 agents that are working on AI. Now to make AI successful, you need two big building blocks. One is data and one is cloud. On both of that, we have invested many years ago. We are the leading company on that. The world needs all that technology talent. And my view is that will continue to be the case.
What are the go-to skills that will make them indispensable?
Well, I think we talked about learnability. We talked about human skills, about collaboration, empathy, leadership, which no AI can do. And we also believe that you have to do first principle thinking. That when you approach, and that's part of the training that Infosys does, go back to first principles and examine something. And again, AI will not, I think it's an area where people will have a competitive advantage.
The key thing, as has been shared with Mr. Murthy and Nandan, is there's really reskilling to make sure that we are all ready for whatever's next. If you remember a few years ago, we went to the digital change. We basically did full reskilling. Everyone became more digital focused. Similar thing is now onto AI, and we will continue with that.
But on that note, a huge round of applause. Thank you very much. And thank you.